In the early 20th century, as the world was being rewired by invisible signals, George F. Worts wrote a story that looked at how those new technologies might change the ancient, entrenched power structures of the East. The book is called Peter the Brazen, and it follows a man who is, in many ways, a modern-day wizard of the airwaves. Our protagonist is Peter Moore. He isn't a soldier or a detective by trade, but a wireless operator. He has what some might call a near-supernatural ability to detect faint, ghostly radio signals that others miss entirely. He's a man of high professional standing in the Pacific, but he suddenly resigns his post to follow a trail of cryptic warnings. Before he leaves, he has a secret meeting with a man named Lo Ong, a man who is officially declared dead. Lo Ong gives him a warning about a high lady and a place called Len Yang, and that's the spark that pulls Peter into the heart of China. The story begins in earnest on the steamship Vandalia, making its way toward the Chinese coast. The atmosphere on the ship is thick with more than just humidity. There's a sense of being watched. Peter starts noticing unsettling things: a mysterious woman draped in a grey garment, a suspicious stateroom, and a general feeling that the social order of the voyage is being quietly undermined. As the ship nears its destination, Peter learns about the Grey Dragon, a powerful Chinese aristocrat who holds a stranglehold on Len Yang. This city is notorious for its lethal cinnabar mines, but the real horror isn't the mining itself. It's the massive, industrial-scale trafficking of young women that fuels the region's economy. During the voyage, Peter's role shifts from a passive observer of signals to an active participant in a dangerous game. He rescues an American schoolteacher named Eileen Lorimer from a kidnapping attempt. The kidnappers are using advanced technology for the time electric signal jamming devices to mask their movements. It's a moment that establishes Peter as a man who can't help but step into the fray. After a daring escape where Peter orchestrates Eileen's flight via a small sampan into the Wangpu River, the story moves into its second act. Once they reach Shanghai, the group expands. Peter is joined by Amy Vost and his old seaside kick, Bobby McLaurin. The three of them begin a journey up the Yangtze River toward Nanking, navigating a landscape that is as beautiful as it is socially volatile. There is a complex web of romantic tension here. Peter has feelings for Eileen, but he is also caught in the orbit of Amy, while Bobby is deeply infatuated with Amy. This tension isn't just social, it's dangerous. The journey turns violent when a wealthy Mongolian man attempts to assault Amy, and Peter is forced to kill the man in a stateroom ambush. Shortly after this, disaster strikes. The steamer Hanko is rammed and sinks in the treacherous waters of the Yangtze. Peter and Amy find themselves stripped of their social status and their comforts, forced into a primal struggle for survival. They have to swim through violent, churning rapids, eventually being pulled from the water by local villagers. It is after this shipwreck that Peter's path takes a turn toward the inevitable. He feels an inexplicable, almost magnetic compulsion to travel toward Len Yang. On this journey, he saves the Mandarin Cheng from an assassin, an act of honor that leads him to join forces with a revolutionary named Kan Meng. Kan Meng is planning to overthrow the corrupt regime of the Grey Dragon, and Peter finds himself caught between the old world of secret societies and a new, more organized vision of China. When Peter finally arrives in Len Yang, the true scale of the horror is revealed. This isn't just a city of crime, it is a city of stolen lives that uses the very technology Peter masters to facilitate its crimes. The Grey Dragon uses wireless telegraphy to coordinate with hunters across Asia, turning human beings into commodities that can be tracked and traded across vast distances. Peter discovers that Eileen has been captured and is being held within the city's walls. He begins a desperate infiltration of the palace, facing a gauntlet of assassins and psychological warfare. He isn't alone, though. He is aided by Romola Boria, a woman from his past. Romola is a fascinating character, a former assassin who has been softened by her history with Peter, and she becomes a crucial protector for him as he navigates the palace's deadly corridors. The climax of the story takes place in a place called the Room of the Green Death. It is here that Peter finally confronts the Grey Dragon. But the confrontation isn't just a physical battle, it's a psychological one. The Grey Dragon, whose real name is Chuseng, is revealed to be a deeply broken man. His villainy stems from a past romantic betrayal that has left him unable to understand the concept of love. He has spent his life trying to grasp the sublime quality of human connection, but he can only understand it through power and control. He has been watching Peter for years, fascinated by the man's ability to navigate the world with a sense of purpose that the grey dragon himself lacks. In a final primal outburst of rage, Peter attacks the tyrant. The conflict ends not with a total bloody massacre that leaves a vacuum, but with a profound systemic shift. It turns out that Khan Meng, the revolutionary, is not actually the biological son of the grey dragon as many believed, but the son of a Sinhalese trader. This revelation changes the nature of the succession. Instead of one tyrant replacing another, Khan Meng seizes control and begins to transform the criminal syndicate into a legitimate, benevolent administration. He replaces the chaos of the underworld with organized social reform, investing in railroads, hospitals, and infrastructure. In the aftermath, Peter Moore finds the peace he had been seeking. He survives the chaos of the revolution and settles down with Eileen. He transitions from a wandering, detached technician of the airwaves into a high-ranking official within the new, reformed administration. The man who once only listened to the ghosts in the signals ends his journey as a man helping to build a tangible, functioning society. When we look back at this story, there is a lot to unpack in how Worts uses the technology of the era. The wireless telegraphy in the book is a perfect metaphor for the double-edged nature of modernity. It is a tool for connection, allowing people to reach across oceans, but in the hands of the grey dragon, it becomes a high-tech instrument for exploitation and human trafficking. It's a way to bridge distances, but it also makes the world much smaller and more dangerous for those being hunted. There is also a striking duality in the way the dragon is portrayed. We start with the grey dragon as a predatory, individualistic tyrant, a man who embodies the old, chaotic way of ruling through fear and secret networks. By the end, that dragon has been transformed into a structured, institutional force. The criminal syndicate becomes a state. It's a reflection of the historical shifts happening in China and much of the world at that time, moving from fragmented, localized power toward organized, modern state building. The book also plays with the concept of the sublime. There is a constant tension between the brutal, material reality of the cinnabar mines, the dirt, the blood, and the physical labor, and the intangible, elusive nature of romantic love that the characters are all chasing. The grey dragon's tragedy is that he tries to treat the sublime as something that can be owned or controlled, like a commodity, and in doing so, he loses his humanity. Ultimately, Peter the Brazen is a story about the clash between the ancient and the modern. It places Western technological modernity right in the middle of an ancient, entrenched social hierarchy. Peter himself acts as the bridge. He uses the tools of the new world to navigate the shadows of the old one, eventually helping to usher in a new order that is less about the whims of a single man and more about the stability of a functioning society. It's a story that suggests that while technology can change the way we communicate, it's the human response to that technology, whether we use it to exploit or to connect, that truly determines the direction of history.